You wish to rise above the ordinary, to step into the realm where only a few stand. But understand this: being in the top 1% is not about chasing success. It is about becoming someone who cannot be ignored by life itself. Most people wait for motivation. The wise create structure. Each day they move with intention, not emotion. When you wake up, your mind will offer excuses. It will whisper comfort, delay, and doubt. Do not argue with it. Simply act. Action is the language of discipline. Look at water. It does not fight the rock, yet over time, it shapes it. This is the power of consistency. Small actions done daily carve greatness into your life. Not intensity, but continuity. You avoid discomfort because you believe it is your enemy, but discomfort is the doorway. When your body feels tired, your mind wants to stop. That is the moment transformation begins. The top 1% walk toward resistance, while others run away. They understand that growth lives where comfort dies. Guard your time. Every distraction is a silent thief. Every wasted hour is a piece of your life that will not return. Ask yourself, is this action feeding my purpose or feeding my escape? Be honest. Your future is built on your answers. But discipline without awareness becomes emptiness. You must also learn stillness. Sit with yourself. Observe your thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. In silence, you will discover clarity. And with clarity, your actions gain precision. You stop chasing everything and start moving toward what truly matters. And finally, understand this: if your goal is only for yourself, your strength will be limited. Ego is a small container. Purpose is infinite. When your actions serve something greater than your own comfort, your energy becomes unstoppable. The top 1% are not special people. They are people who made uncommon choices, again and again, until those choices became their nature. So do not wait to feel ready. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Begin now. One step, one breath, one disciplined action at a time. And one day, without even realizing it, you will look around and see that you have become the person others are trying to become. Before you attempt to shape the world around you, you must first understand the world within you. The greatest battles you will ever face are not outside. They are silent, invisible, and constant. They take place in your own mind. Your mind is powerful, but it is not always your ally. Left untrained, it seeks comfort over growth, distraction over focus, and fear over possibility. It reacts instead of responds. It pulls you toward habits that weaken you while convincing you they are harmless. This is why so many people remain stuck, not because they lack ability, but because they are controlled by their own thoughts. To rise above this, you must begin by observing. Not controlling, not forcing, just observing. Sit quietly and watch your thoughts as they come and go. Notice how quickly they shift. One moment you feel motivated, the next you feel doubt. If your life is guided by these fluctuations, you will never find stability. But when you learn to watch without attachment, something powerful happens. You create space between you and your thoughts. In that space, you gain choice. Mastery of the mind does not mean silencing every thought. It means deciding which thoughts deserve your attention and which do not. Just because a thought appears does not mean it is true. Just because you feel something does not mean you must act on it. This is the discipline most people never develop. When resistance appears, when your mind says rest, quit, or later pause and question it, ask yourself, is this voice leading me toward growth or away from it? The answer is often clear, but the challenge lies in acting against the comfortable choice. Each time you choose discipline over ease, you strengthen your mind. Each time you give in, you weaken it. Think of your mind as a muscle. If you never challenge it, it becomes soft and unreliable. But when you train it daily through focus, awareness, and intentional action, it becomes sharp, steady, and resilient. Over time, you will notice a shift. You are no longer reacting impulsively. You are responding with clarity. This is where true power begins. Control of the mind also requires guarding what you allow into it. What you watch, what you listen to, the conversations you engage in, these all shape your thinking. If you constantly consume negativity, comparison, and noise, your mind becomes cluttered and restless. But when you feed it with purpose, knowledge, and silence, it becomes calm and focused. Do not underestimate the value of stillness. In a world that constantly demands your attention, choosing to be still is a form of strength. It is in these quiet moments that you begin to understand yourself more deeply. You see your patterns, your fears, your desires, and with understanding comes the ability to change. But remember, mastery is not achieved in a single moment. It is built over time, through consistent practice. There will be days when your mind feels chaotic, when focus seems impossible. Do not be discouraged. This is part of the process. The goal is not perfection, but awareness and progress. As you continue, you will realize something profound. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them, who chooses them, who directs them. And once you truly understand this, you are no longer controlled by impulse or emotion. You become intentional. You become disciplined. You become free. And when your mind is no longer your obstacle, it becomes your greatest weapon. Discipline is not built in moments of intensity, it is forged in the quiet repetition of small actions that most people overlook. Many believe that greatness comes from doing something extraordinary once, but the truth is far simpler and far more demanding. It comes from doing ordinary things with unwavering consistency. Each day presents you with simple choices: wake up or delay, act or postpone, focus or drift. These choices may seem insignificant in the moment, but they are never neutral. They are either building you or weakening you. The top 1% understand this deeply. They do not wait for the perfect conditions or a surge of motivation. They rely on systems, routines, and habits that guide their actions regardless of how they feel. You must learn to lower the barrier to action. If your goals feel overwhelming, it is not because they are impossible, but because your approach lacks simplicity. Break everything down. Make the first step so small that there is no resistance. If you want to train your body, begin with a few minutes. If you want to sharpen your mind, start with a single page. The size of the action does not matter in the beginning. What matters is that it is repeated. Repetition creates identity. When you act consistently, you begin to see yourself differently. You are no longer someone who tries or plans. You become someone who does. This shift is subtle but powerful. Your confidence no longer depends on results. It comes from knowing that you will show up again and again without fail. There will be days when the effort feels meaningless. Progress will seem invisible. Your mind will question whether it is worth continuing. This is where most people stop. They seek immediate results, and when they do not see them, they lose direction. But understand, this growth is often silent. Beneath the surface, your habits are shaping your character, strengthening your discipline, and preparing you for a level you cannot yet see. Consistency also requires structure. Without structure, your day becomes vulnerable to distractions and impulses. Decide in advance what your day will look like. Set clear times for your most important actions and protect them with intention. Do not negotiate with yourself in the moment. When the time comes, you act not because you feel like it, but because you have already decided. At the same time, do not rely on perfection. Discipline is not about never failing, it is about never quitting. There will be days when you fall short, when your actions do not align with your intentions. Do not allow one mistake to become a pattern. Return immediately. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to begin again. You must also learn patience. Small actions compound over time in ways that are difficult to measure at first. Just as a seed grows beneath the soil before it breaks through the surface, your efforts are creating change long before it becomes visible. Trust this process. Stay committed, even when there is no external reward. As your habits strengthen, something begins to change within you. What once required effort becomes natural. What once felt difficult becomes routine. Discipline is no longer something you force, it becomes part of who you are. This is the quiet power of consistency. It does not demand attention, yet it transforms everything. While others search for shortcuts and quick results, you are building a foundation that cannot be shaken. In time, the gap between you and others will not come from talent or luck, but from the simple fact that you continued when they stopped. Discomfort is often misunderstood. Most people see it as a signal to stop, a warning that something is wrong. But in truth, discomfort is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It reveals your limits, and at the same time, shows you where growth is waiting. Your natural instinct is to move toward ease. The body seeks rest, the mind seeks certainty, and the ego seeks safety. This instinct is not wrong, but if left unchecked, it becomes a prison. It keeps you repeating the same patterns, living within the same boundaries, and wondering why nothing changes. To grow, you must begin to change your relationship with discomfort. Instead of avoiding it, you step toward it with awareness. When something feels difficult, when resistance appears, pause and recognize the moment. This is not a barrier, it is an invitation. Consider the times when you felt the urge to quit. Perhaps your body felt tired, your focus weakened, or your confidence wavered. In those moments, your mind begins to create reasons, logical, convincing reasons to stop. It tells you that you can try again later, that rest is more important, that you have done enough. And often, you listen. But what if you did not? What if, in that exact moment, you chose to continue just a little further? Not to prove something to others, but to show yourself that you are not controlled by temporary discomfort. This is where transformation begins. Not in comfort, not in ease, but in the quiet decision to move forward when everything within you says to stop. Discomfort comes in many forms. It is the silence when you sit alone with your thoughts. It is the effort when your body feels heavy. It is the fear when you step into the unknown. Each form carries a lesson. If you avoid them, you avoid the lesson. If you face them, you gain strength. Understand this clearly: growth and comfort cannot exist in the same space. When you choose comfort, you choose to remain the same. When you choose discomfort, you choose to evolve. This choice is presented to you daily, often in small and unnoticed ways. When you wake up early instead of staying in bed, that is discomfort. When you focus instead of scrolling, that is discomfort. When you speak the truth instead of staying silent, that is discomfort. These moments may seem small, but they are powerful. They are shaping your identity, one decision at a time. Over time, something begins to shift. What once felt uncomfortable becomes familiar. Your tolerance increases. Your mind becomes calmer in the face of difficulty. You no longer react with avoidance, you respond with intention. This is how resilience is built. But be mindful of embracing discomfort does not mean seeking pain without purpose. It is not about suffering for the sake of suffering. It is about choosing meaningful challenges that align with your growth. There is a difference between destructive struggle and constructive resistance. One drains you, the other strengthens you. You must also learn to remain present within discomfort. Do not rush to escape it or distract yourself from it. Breathe through it. Observe it. When you stay with the experience, you begin to realize something important. It is temporary. It rises, it peaks, and it fades, just like a wave. This understanding gives you freedom. You are no longer afraid of discomfort because you know it cannot control you. You see it for what it is: a passing state, not a permanent condition. And as this awareness deepens, your confidence changes. It is no longer based on success or failure, but on your ability to face whatever comes without retreat. This is the path few choose. While others search for ease, you are building strength. While others avoid resistance, you are using it as fuel. And in time, what once felt like a burden becomes your advantage. Time and energy are the two most valuable resources you possess. Yet they are often treated as if they are endless. They are not. Every day, you are given a limited amount, and once it is spent, it cannot be recovered. The question is not whether you are using them, it is how consciously you are choosing where they go. Most people do not lose their time all at once. It is taken in small pieces. A few minutes of distraction, repeated throughout the day. Unnecessary conversations. Endless consumption without intention. These moments seem harmless, but they accumulate, quietly shaping a life of missed potential. To rise above this, you must begin to see your time as sacred. Not in a dramatic sense, but in a deeply practical one. Each hour is a building block. Each action either moves you closer to your purpose or further away from it. There is no neutral ground. This awareness changes how you make decisions. Before you engage in any activity, you pause and ask yourself, is this worthy of my time? Not everything needs to be productive, but everything should be intentional. Rest can be valuable, but mindless escape drains more than it restores. Energy follows a similar principle. You may have time, but without energy, that time becomes ineffective. And your energy is constantly being influenced by what you consume, by the people around you, and by the thoughts you entertain. Pay attention to what drains you. Certain environments leave you feeling heavy and distracted. Certain habits weaken your focus. Even certain people, without meaning harm, can pull you into patterns that do not serve your growth. You do not need to reject everything, but you must learn to create boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to keep others out. They are structures that protect your direction. When you say no to something that does not align with your purpose, you are saying yes to something that does. This is a difficult practice, especially in a world that constantly demands your attention. But it is necessary. Distractions are no longer rare, they are designed to capture you. If you are not deliberate, your focus will be taken from you without resistance. This is why you must train your attention. Choose specific periods where your focus is undisturbed. During this time, remove what is unnecessary. No notifications, no interruptions, no divided attention. Just one task, done fully. At first, this will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will seek stimulation, something quick and easy. But if you remain steady, your focus will deepen. You will begin to experience a different quality of work, one that is calm, precise, and effective. Protecting your time also means planning it. Not rigidly, but with clarity. When you begin your day without direction, you leave space for randomness to take over. Decide what matters most and give it your best energy. Do not leave your priorities for the end of the day when your strength is already depleted. You must also recognize that not everything deserves your attention. There are opportunities, requests, and distractions that may seem valuable, but if they do not align with your path, they become obstacles. Learn to let them pass without regret. Over time, this practice creates a powerful shift. You are no longer reacting to life, you are directing it. Your days become more focused, your actions more meaningful, and your progress more consistent. And something else begins to happen. You feel less overwhelmed. Not because you have less to do, but because you are no longer scattered. Your energy is concentrated, and with that concentration comes effectiveness. This is the quiet discipline of guarding your time and energy. It does not require force, only awareness and consistency. While others allow their days to be consumed by distraction, you are shaping yours with intention. And in that difference, your life begins to move in a direction that few are willing to pursue. In a world that constantly pulls your attention outward, stillness becomes a rare and powerful practice. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. The moment there is nothing to do, nothing to watch, nothing to consume, they feel restless. So they fill every gap with noise, with distraction, with movement. But in doing so, they lose something essential: the ability to see clearly. Clarity does not come from constant activity. It emerges from stillness. When you allow yourself to be still, without distraction, you begin to notice what is usually hidden beneath the surface. Your thoughts, your emotions, your patterns, they all reveal themselves. At first, this may feel uncomfortable. You may notice how scattered your mind is, how quickly it jumps from one thought to another. You may feel the urge to escape, to reach for something that occupies your attention. Do not run from this. This is the beginning of awareness. Stillness is not about forcing the mind to be empty. It is about observing, without attachment. Sit quietly, breathe naturally, and allow your thoughts to come and go. Do not chase them. Do not resist them. Simply watch. In this practice, you begin to separate yourself from the constant stream of thinking. You realize that you are not your thoughts, you are the one who sees them. This realization is subtle, but it changes everything. When you are no longer controlled by every thought that arises, you gain clarity. Decisions become simpler. You are not pulled in every direction by impulse or emotion. Instead, you respond with intention. You begin to see what truly matters and what does not. Stillness also sharpens your awareness of the present moment. Most people live either in the past or in the future, replaying what has already happened or worrying about what has not yet come. But life only exists in the present. When your mind is constantly elsewhere, you lose connection with reality. Through stillness, you return. You notice your breath, your body, your surroundings. You become grounded. And from this grounded state, your actions become more precise. You are no longer rushing without direction. You move with purpose, even in simple tasks. There is also strength in stillness. It may appear passive from the outside, but internally, it requires discipline. To sit without distraction, to face your thoughts without reacting, to remain present without escaping, this is not easy. But it builds a quiet resilience. Over time, you will find that this stillness follows you beyond the moments of practice. In challenging situations, where others react quickly, you remain calm. You pause before responding. You see more clearly, and because of that, you act more effectively. Stillness is also where insight is born. When the noise settles, your mind begins to organize itself. Ideas connect, solutions appear. What once seemed complicated becomes simple. This is not because you are forcing answers, but because you are allowing space for them to arise naturally. But do not expect immediate results. Like any discipline, this requires consistency. Even a few minutes each day can begin to create change. The key is not duration, but regularity. Return to stillness again and again, especially when you feel the most distracted. You must also protect this practice. The world will always offer you reasons to stay busy, to stay occupied, to stay distracted. But if you do not choose stillness intentionally, it will not happen on its own. As you deepen this habit, you will notice something profound. You begin to feel less pulled by external noise. Your need for constant stimulation decreases. You become more centered, more aware, more in control. And from this inner clarity, your outer life begins to align. Your actions carry more purpose. Your decisions carry more weight. Your presence becomes stronger, even without words. This is the quiet power of stillness. It does not demand attention, yet it transforms the way you see, think, and live. There is a limit to how far you can go when everything you do is centered only around yourself. The ego is small, even when it appears strong. It seeks recognition, comfort, and control, but it cannot sustain true strength for long. When your actions are driven only by personal gain, your motivation will rise and fall with your emotions. Some days you will feel driven, other days you will feel empty. This is why many people start strong but cannot continue. Their purpose is not deep enough to carry them through difficulty. To go further, you must connect your actions to something greater than your own desires. This does not mean abandoning yourself, it means expanding beyond yourself. When your efforts are tied to a larger purpose, your energy changes. You are no longer working only for results, you are working with meaning. Ask yourself, who benefits from your growth? Who is impacted when you become stronger, wiser, more disciplined? It could be your family, your community, or even people you may never meet. When you begin to see your actions as part of something larger, your perspective shifts. The work is no longer just about you, it becomes a responsibility. Responsibility creates strength. When you know that others are affected by your choices, you begin to act with more intention. You become less willing to give in to distraction, less willing to waste your potential. Not because you are forced, but because you understand the value of what you are building. Serving a greater purpose also brings clarity. Many people feel lost because they are constantly chasing personal satisfaction. They move from one goal to another, hoping to feel fulfilled, but the feeling does not last. This is because fulfillment is not found in accumulation, it is found in contribution. When you give your effort to something meaningful, there is a quiet sense of alignment. Even when the work is difficult, it feels worthwhile. Even when progress is slow, it feels steady. You are no longer searching for meaning, you are living it. But this path requires humility. The ego will resist. It will ask, what do I gain from this? It will seek immediate reward. You must learn to move beyond this voice. True purpose is not always loud or visible. It is often quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. This does not mean you ignore your own needs. You must still care for your body, your mind, and your well-being. But your focus expands. You begin to balance personal growth with contribution. You understand that becoming stronger is not just for your own benefit, it is so you can offer more to the world around you. There is also resilience in purpose. When your actions are connected to something greater, you do not stop easily. Challenges do not feel like obstacles, they feel like part of the path. You are willing to endure more, to push further, because the reason behind your effort is stronger than the discomfort in front of you. Over time, this way of living transforms you. You become less reactive, less focused on temporary emotions. Your decisions are guided by values, not impulses. You act with consistency, even when no one is watching, because your purpose does not depend on external validation, and something else begins to happen. People notice not because you are trying to impress them, but because your presence carries a different energy. There is clarity in your actions, steadiness in your behavior, and sincerity in your intent. This is the power of serving beyond the self. It does not weaken you, it strengthens you in a way that ego never can. When your life is guided by purpose rather than pride, your path becomes clearer, your effort becomes deeper, and your impact becomes lasting. And in that alignment, you step into a level of strength that few ever reach, not because it is hidden, but because most never look beyond themselves to find it.